Rise and shine, my sinners. When Father Evil starts his day, he gets a little deadly. Deadly Grounds coffee has the richest, smoothest flavor you'll find anywhere. It's sinfully delicious. Once you go deadly, you never go back. Order yours at getdeadly.com. Coffee's so good, it's scary.
What do you see?
What's that?
The Howling. Somewhere in this city, in this human jungle, it begins.
Just try. He's right there.
What do you see?
What's there, Karen?
What do you see, Karen?
What's there?
Somewhere in these woods, in this primal, sensuous, secret place, lies an experience too terrifying for words. And now, all anyone can do is watch and wait.
Tonight I'm going to show you something. Make you believe.
The Howling.
What kind of a sick school is this?
Uh-oh, Dongo!
Strange things are afoot at the Circle K.
You're going to need a bigger boat.
Surely you can't be serious.
I am serious, and don't call me Shirley.
You got spunk. I hate spunk.
Danger, Will Robinson. Danger.
Oh, righty.
How you doing? Back off, man. I'm a scientist.
Don't make me angry. You wouldn't like me when I'm angry.
Say hello to my little friend!
I love to smell a great plum in the morning.
What are you people? On dope?
Stop whining.
I got a crap on deck that can choke a donkey.
Who is your daddy?
I'm sorry, but all questions must be submitted in writing.
I'm sorry, Dave. I'm afraid I can't do that.
Can I do that?
I'll be back.
A dynamite! Show me the money!
Don't! Up your nose with your rubber hose.
A what?
I'm sailing! I'm sailing!
Groovy.
You want the moon? Just say the word and I'll throw a lasso around it and pull it down.
Love means never having to say you're sorry.
Here's looking at you, kid.
We got no food, we got no jobs, our pets' heads are falling off!
Come to the coast and get together, have a few laughs.
Hear that, Elizabeth? I'm coming to join you, honey.
I'm not a doctor, but I play one on TV.
I love it when a plan comes together.
What we do is if we need that extra push over the cliff, you know what we do?
Put it up to 11.
11, exactly. One louder.
Why don't you just make 10 louder and make 10 be the top number and make that a little louder?
These go to 11.
We're on a mission from Guy.
Hello and welcome to another incredible episode of Then Is Now podcast. I am your host, Re-Gor. As we continue to introduce the next generation to all the cool stuff they may have missed out on, there are many directors, writers, actors, and actresses that people should know who've been entertaining us for decades and still do. One such person is a woman who was mom to a generation, an undeniably strong woman in several horrific situations, and someone who not only continues to act, but also shares her loving and healing approach to life with the world. So sit back and listen to an interview with a woman who is perhaps one of the greatest actresses of our time. Class is in session.
I have a bad feeling about this.
How could I possibly be expected to handle school on a day like this?
Food fight!
Hey, you in my class?
I am today.
I think you should consider transferring to shop class. Now, very few students are severely injured in shop class.
Bueller.
When you were in school,
Bueller.
did you ever cut class?
Bueller.
Yeah, I guess I did. Sure, most kids cut classes.
Good. Sign this. He's sick.
I get so lonely when I hear that third attendance bell ring and all my kids are not here.
7 years of college down the drain.
Fat, drunk, and stupid is no way to go through life, son.
You lack discipline. As long as I'm here, there will be no grades or gold stars or demerits. We're going to have recess all the time. Woo! Go, play, and have fun now.
Okay, folks, joining me as co-host today once again is filmmaker Chris Esper. Welcome back, Chris.
Hey, Roger. Thanks for having me again.
I'm glad to have you here. There's no doubt in my mind that you're about as excited about today's guest as I am.
Oh, you bet I am. Yep.
All right, awesome. So let's get started. Folks, our guest today is an amazing actress who's been plying her trade since the mid-1970s and appeared on such TV shows as The Streets of San Francisco, The Man from Atlantis, Bigfoot and Wild Boy, Simon and Simon, and more recently Supernatural, NCIS, and my all-time favorite TV show, General Hospital, in which she played the legendary Luke Spencer's long-lost sister, Patricia. As a movie star, she has embraced the title of Scream Queen and is beloved by millions, having been in so many fantastic horror movies such as The Hills Have Eyes, The Howling, which is celebrating its 40th anniversary this year, Cujo, Critters, The Frighteners, Rob Zombie's remake of Halloween, The House of the Devil, The Lords of Salem, and Three from Hell, just to name a few. But it was Steven Spielberg's film E.T. that made her the mom to a whole generation of wide-eyed kids in a movie that has endured over the years. In addition to her current acting, she's the author of 5 books on the subject of self-creation, titled Conscious Creation, The Big E, Bright Light, Getting Stuff, and Wake Up Now. She also conducts a live call-in internet show, the wildly popular Conscious Creation radio show, every Sunday, as well as giving monthly webinars on a variety of creation subjects. She also conducts private sessions from her home via phone and in person. As a much sought-after speaker, our guest has spoken at numerous national and international venues, including the Love and Harmony Forum in Japan, the Dylan Lecture Series, Unity Temple, the Kansas Film Commission, and has spoken in China, New Zealand, Amsterdam, Australia, England, and all across the United States and Canada. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming the iconic, the amazingly talented, and absolutely fabulous Dee Wallace.
My gosh, I want to meet me. What a great intro, guys. Thank you.
Thank you. We're so honored to have you here. I do have to say, I remember seeing you as a kid in The Hills Have Eyes at the drive-in with my parents, and also in The Howling and ET and Cujo, and I just can't believe that we're speaking to you in person, so thank you so much for coming on the show.
Yes, thank you.
Well, it's my great pleasure, guys. Thank you for all the elaborate dance we went through to get this together.
Right. You've touched so many people's lives with your acting as well as with conscious creation. So can we just start at the beginning, and can I ask what led you into acting?
My mother and I was born. Those are the two simplest answers I can give you. I really do believe you're born to be a creative and you don't have much choice. Now, it's true, we create everywhere in our lives just by being alive and breathing and thinking and feeling we create. But, my daughter, I have a sonogram of my daughter. Literally, she looks like she's doing ballet in my belly. And she's a creative, she's an actress, she's a writer, just like me. But I remember my mother was a very beautiful actress locally in Kansas City. And she also produced and directed all the religious plays at our church. And she also did these amazing, what we would call monologues now. We called them readings back then. And they were like 30-minute readings on the crucifixion or the birth of Christ. And people from 4 states would come to watch my mom do this. And I literally remember the moment I was sitting in the pew and I turned around and looked at all these adult men and women who are weeping, watching my mother. I get all kerflumped when I talk about it. And I thought right then, I want to do what my mommy does. I want to move people like this. And so here I am.
That's amazing. Now I know you have a short amount of time here, but I have to ask this question.
Yeah.
Chris, this is from well before you were born.
Okay.
But Dee, what do you remember about your guest spot on the show Bigfoot and Wild Boy?
Oh my gosh, not much. I mean, guys, how many? It was over 30 years ago. Come on. Bigfoot and Wild Boy. I just remember being outside a lot, and it was really, really, really hot.
Wow.
That's basically all I remember from doing. You know, it's crazy after you do so many things, unless they were a major milestone in your career. It's like, yeah, I sort of kind of remember doing that.
Right.
You know?
So now you've worked with Rob Zombie quite a bit. Can you tell us about what it's like to work with him? Because I almost didn't recognize you in Three from Hell.
Thank you. Yeah, he actually had a critic call him and go, you know, I'm reviewing the film and I really like it, but did you cut Dee Wallace out because she's listed in my paperwork, but she's not in the movie?
Oh, that's hilarious.
And Rob said, oh, go back and look again. You'll find her. Which is the best compliment you can give an actor, you know, is for us to get so into the role you don't even know it's us. So thank you. But working with Rob, you know, I adore the guy. I love Sherry. I love Rob. I love working with him. I don't think you'll talk to any actor that feels any differently. He just gives you so much freedom, and at the same time really does know exactly what he wants. But he gives you so much freedom that almost it leaves you wanting more direction, which is beautiful for an actor. Right. Because when we're put into too tight of a box, it limits our creativity. So I know in Three from Hell, Rob had put some former footage together that we'd shot, and he wanted to add some more to it. And I was coming back from wardrobing NCIS, and so I stopped by the studio, and I literally had no makeup on in that, as you can tell. I look like, except blacking under my eyes and stuff like that. Right. And I got into makeup, and I got down there, and Rob said, okay, this is an extenuation of when you're on the stairs smoking and you come in and Baby's killed everybody. Well, because we thought everybody would have killed Baby. You know? Yeah. And so he finishes explaining this to me, and he says, okay, let's roll it. And I went, wait a minute. Wait a minute. And I said, just let me, I have to have a minute for her to get in me and tell me what to do. And I stayed there for a few seconds, and then it was like, oh, I've got it. Because, you know, your mind would go, oh, you're horrified and you're scared to death. But no, where she took me was this turned her on. And, you know, I've got to tell you, that's how I know the character's coming through me and it's not me, because little Dee from Kansas would never let death turn her on. Right. But boy, the character sure got into that.
That's amazing.
That's awesome.
So I wanted to just briefly touch upon a couple of things here, because I know you've been asked a zillion questions about the Howling and ET and Cujo. Like, personally, I just actually rewatched the Howling twice, only because I watched it just in preparation for the show, and then I went to a drive-in movie theater where they were doing an all-night marathon, and the Howling happened to be one of the films. And I just love that movie because there's so many layers to it. Did you feel that it was a commentary on the self-help, you know, communes or groups that were going on at the time?
Oh, I think, like you said, there's so many levels to it. It's an exploration into the dark side of us, the yin and yang of us, the monster within all of us. And I think it was a commentary, yes, on some of the self-help things. And, Joe Dante is so brilliant.
Oh, yeah.
At putting together the humor and all the sub messages and all of those film and cartoon pieces that were in the movie. Joe paid for himself.
Wow!
Because the student wouldn't ante up the money, and he really felt like the film needed to be and it's some of the best parts, of the movie, especially for fans. All the characters are named after old werewolf characters or actors that played werewolf characters.
Right.
I mean, there's so much that Joe and John Sayles put into that for the fans explicitly, for it. So you can just go watch the movie and not know any of it.
Right.
And then you can go watch the movie and go, oh my God, that was a reference to this and that. And so it works on a lot of different levels. Yeah.
Right.
There's even a quick shot I happen to catch where the camera's panning by and there's a picture of Lon Chaney Jr. on the wall.
Yeah. Yeah. There's little things everywhere throughout the movie like that.
Right.
And the true fans love to come by my table at the conventions and go, you know what we found in the Howling? So, I would invite everybody to go back in and take another look at it and see how many references you can find.
Right. And you got to work with so many greats in that movie. I mean, Patrick McNee and, John Carradine, just to name a few. I mean, Dick Miller. I guess you didn't do any scenes with Dick Miller, though, right?
I did not, but I worked with Dick in some other movies. He was a great guy. It was a big loss. But yeah, we used to sit around the campfire, and Slim and all of them would be regaling us with stories of the early days in Hollywood, and we would just sit there and listen to these stories and laugh. And
that's incredible.
It was just, we had very little money. We did the whole thing for $1 million, special effects and everything. So it was like, let's put on a show. But everybody was so into it, and we all loved Joe so much, and that makes a big difference. How much you want to do for your director.
Sure.
Right.
And we loved working with each other, and everybody was so talented. And it was just, it was one of the fondest memories of my youth.
That's amazing.
That's amazing.
So let's move on a little bit here. So I know you've probably been asked a zillion questions about ET, but is there perhaps like a fun story that you haven't been asked a million times that you could share with us?
That's a tough one. Do you know how many interviews I've done in the last 30 years about ET? Well, a lot of people don't know that there was a whole B story around how ET was in love with Mary.
Really?
Oh, interesting.
Yes. And you can see little snippets that we kept in, that Stephen kept in, that we filmed for that B story. But ultimately, in the final edit, it just took too much focus away from the story of Elliot and E.T., and that was really what the movie was about. But when he's peeking through the slats watching me read to Gertie, that's one moment when he comes in and puts the Reese's Pieces down on my bedstand when I'm asleep.
Right.
Wow.
That's another part of that B story. I really understand and agree with Stephen why he had to shave that down.
Right.
Because you can't have two stories. You know, you have to have one film.
Right. That is interesting. I did not know that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Here. That's amazing.
Just added a whole...
Not in a sexual way. in a I wish she was my mother kind of way.
Yeah, right. That's amazing.
Yeah, I think we kind of got that.
Hello, this is Rod Barnett. I'm the host of The Bloody Pit, the podcast that examines films from across the decades. On The Bloody Pit, we have several ongoing series of shows within the show focused on specific things in genre cinema that I and my co-hosts find fascinating. There's a long-running series focused on Italian maestro Antonio Margheriti's films from the 1960s all the way up through 1990. There's an on-again, off-again series focused on 1970s science fiction films. There's an in-depth look at the Western movies that William Castle made before he struck out on his own and became the horror auteur that we know and love. A look at the classic Coffin Joe films from Brazil. And our long-term project to look at every Universal horror film made in the 1940s. That's a long project, people. It's going to take us a long time. Sprinkled in amongst those are various other episodes focused on other stranger areas of cinema, like Lucio Fulci, Dario Argento, and even some obscure British crime films from time to time. So join me and my rotating crew of co-hosts as we examine the stranger side of cinema through an exploitation lens. Except when we don't. Yeah, you never really know exactly what to expect on The Bloody Pit. So join me for The Bloody Pit.
Prepare for a spine-tingling, nerve-shattering podcast featuring all your favorite monsters. You won't believe your ears when you listen to Monster Kid Radio. Hear your host, Derek M. Cook, and his ever-rotating stable of guests discuss your favorite classic and sometimes not-so-classic monster movies. Subscribe to Monster Kid Radio through iTunes or Stitcher, or visit monsterkidradio.net before the next weekly episode of Monster Kid Radio. Go through the archives for interviews with Sarah Karloff, Victoria Price, and Joel Hodgson. Listen to discussions about movies like Creature from the Black Lagoon, Island of Terror, and King Kong. And don't forget convention coverage from Monster Bash and the H.P. Lovecraft Film Festival. Classic monsters, modern talk, and the head of Rondo Hatton, only on Monster Kid Radio.
We come from the retro future. We want you to be nostalgic for what's to come. A new channel and distribution network for smart people with bad taste, featuring content from Church of the Subgenius, Creature Features, Cinema Insomnia, Sleazy P. Martini and Guar, Troma, Corey Maccabee, Horror, Sci-Fi, Saturday morning cartoons, midnight movies, and assorted trash we love. Add our channel OSI 74 to your Roku player or visit OSI74.com. All systems go.
So how difficult was Cujo to make? Because you were kind of trapped in that car for pretty much the whole movie.
Cujo was the closest thing to hell I ever want to come to while I'm alive. And it's my favorite film.
Really?
Yeah,
Awesome.
I just look at it. I'm so proud of my work in it. I feel like I went as far as I could go, as truthfully as I could go there.
Mm-hmm.
When in a movie like that, is not always easy. You tend to want to overact and telegraph things in a movie like that. And it was a great challenge to really stay centered in the moment and just really do what Donna would do in that moment again. I can tell you, I wasn't supposed to break the back window with the baseball bat. They said to me, well, you can't break the window, Dee, but we want you to hit it really hard because we're shooting it in slow motion. But we'll have to, treat it so that you can really break it. Yeah, well, welcome to an actor's adrenaline. The third hit, I broke it. Do I hear cut? No, I'm sure everybody was standing behind the camera going, holy shit, she broke the window. And everybody actor, you keep going until you hear cut.
Right.
And we had rehearsed the entire thing. So half of my head was going, get the kid, the dog's coming, get the kid. And the other half of my brain is going, you can't do it the way you rehearsed it. There's glass there. You got to pick him up. Don't let him get the kid out, Watch out, don't hurt the kid, And so I got all the way up to the door of the farmhouse, and then they yelled cut.
Wow.
Yeah. So
that's incredible.
Then Dan, because I had, of course, cut my hand a little, my arm, and Dan came up and said, "Oh my God, are you all right?" Of course, I didn't know I had cut my arm, and so they bandaged me up, and we did one more take before I went to the doctor to make sure it was okay. But it was. But they ended up using the first one. Wow. Anyway. So.
That's amazing.
That is amazing.
Chris, do you have any more questions about those three movies?
About those three, not necessarily, but I would love to know about your involvement with Invisible Mom. I love that movie. I adored that movie when I was a kid. I rented it time and time again because that whole fantasy of it. Same with the sequel. And oddly enough, the director, he wanted to do Invisible Dead as well, so it became like its own little series. I mean, there was some interesting character actors like Russ Meyer and Barry Livingston. So how did that come about for you?
I was friends with Andrew, and there was, trying to remember, there were a circle of us that were friends. And so Andrew called me and said, Dee, would you do this little film for me? And I read it, and I thought it was really cute.
Yeah.
And I said, sure, I'll come in. And my poor agents, they're on me all, Dee, you can't do that. You can't tell somebody but I think there are people that come to you that are friends. Like this past year, a bunch of my horror friends came together, and I had this idea to do a takeoff on the COVID thing, and it's called Stay Home. It's really good. It's a 20-minute little love gift to our fans,
Yes.
And they didn't say call my agent, say
right.
And sometimes you just have to do that.
Oh, sure.
So, but we had a lot of fun. As a matter of fact, do you know where I can find it? Because I was telling my little great nephews and nieces about it.
Yeah.
And I said, well, Aunt Dee Dee's going to go home and see if I can find them. Now they all want to watch it.
So it's actually on Amazon Prime for free.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, awesome. Okay, for free.
I actually watched it not too long ago in preparation for this and a few other things, but it's a really fun movie. I had a lot of, even as an adult watching it for the first time in 15 years, I'm like, oh, this is pretty fun. So
yeah, it was a fun little film, and Barry and I just loved working with
Oh,
each
sure.
other.
Yeah, and I assume all that was done with you were wearing a green screen suit? Is that how they did it? Or a blue screen?
No, I didn't wear anything.
Oh.
But a white robe and a towel.
Oh.
Wow.
But I'm sure they had, to shoot me against a screen at some point.
Oh, sure. Right.
Wow.
Guys, you're just asking me about stuff that happened. It was like another lifetime ago.
Well, all right, here's a more recent one, because I have to know, how did you get the role on General Hospital, and what was that experience like?
It was the scariest thing I've ever done. I came off of General Hospital having such respect for those soap opera actors. I don't know how they do it.
Oh, yeah.
30, 40, 50 pages a day.
Yeah.
And you literally have one take.
Yep.
Pretty much, and then you move on. And, I had a lot of emotional stuff in there, so thank God for my technique where the character just kind of takes me over. But, all of the regulars on that show, they just swept me up, put their arms around me. We'd get together in the green room. We'd all run lines. I'm sure that if you do a show like that day after day, you build up that muscle
Right.
of remembering your lines easier, and like a dancer builds up her, calf muscles. It's the same thing. But it was scary and exciting, and I was really, really proud that I got through it, and very honored that they nominated me for an Emmy for it.
Oh, yeah. And, your character was an important part in the history because it's basically the secret origin of Luke Spencer and what happened with his father and why he was the way he was.
Oh, yeah. Very central character, which, fortunately, the producers sent me a lot of the backstory and all the information that I needed. And I did not take it lightly. I don't take any of my acting jobs lightly. I feel like that it's my privilege and my duty and my honor to be as committed and real and honest as I can be in every role that I do.
That's awesome.
Otherwise I let my fans down and I let myself down.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
And real quick, what were Anthony Geary and Jacqueline Zeman like?
Just beautiful. Just really beautiful people to work with. Wonderful actors, lovely human beings. Again, just were so gracious to me. And Anthony said to me, Dee, because I said to him, bear with me, dude, because this is daunting. He said, Dee, I can remember my first week. I literally thought I wasn't going to make it. And I remember my late husband, Christopher Stone, did a stint on a soap, and he came home the first day and he said, I don't know if I can do this.
Wow.
I don't know if I can remember all this stuff. But after the first week, then he started having a ball.
Nice.
With it. So, it's not easy what they do at all.
Right. It's I have total respect for them too. I've watched the show since 1981, and I listened to a podcast that two of the actors put out, and it's just so amazing what goes on behind the scenes. Like, even just thinking about it myself, I'm like, I could never do that.
Well, it's amazing what you do when you're meant to do it, though.
That's true.
Yep. If anybody had shown me what I had to go through doing Cujo, I would have gone, there's no way I'll ever get through this film.
Right.
But I did.
Yeah. So you've got a new horror movie. Oh, I'm sorry, Chris, you had a question?
No.
Oh, okay. You've got a new film coming up called The Nest. It's coming out in July, right?
The Knicks.
Yes.
I don't know when it's coming out. They're editing it as we literally just finished it. And I have to say, I honestly think it was the hardest role I have done since Cujo.
Wow. It looks really good. At least just the premise.
You're talking about the one that Anthony Ferrante is directing, right?
I think so. It's the one about there's like bugs or something in it, right? Let me look it up real quick here. Make sure I'm talking about the right thing.
No, it's not. It's not bugs. No.
Where is it? Hold on. Bear with me.
I have 4 different movies coming out, so
it is.
I don't know exactly which one you're referring to.
It is. Oh, it disappeared here now. It was supposed to be called The Nest, coming up in 2021.
Nest. Well, then they have renamed a movie that I've done. I think I know which movie you're referring to.
Here we go. Yeah, The Nest, where you play Marissa, and
yeah,
the mother is seeing her child changing personality. The child acts differently, and nobody seems to believe her.
Yep. It's good. I mean, it's weird. It's very weird, and it's very good. But I have not seen the final product.
Okay.
13 Fanboy is also coming out. Await the Dawn is coming out. The Knicks which I just finished with Anthony. They're still in the editing process. So
wow.
I've just got a lot of stuff for my fans to look for now that the world is opening up again.
Yes.
Yeah, finally.
Yes, finally.
So tell us about your show, Conscious Creation, and what it's about and how you started doing it.
You know, I've been channeling, which most children do, by the way, since I was a little girl. And we never called it that, of course. We just said Dee Dee has a really great imagination. When my husband, Christopher Stone, died suddenly, I dropped to my knees and I said, you know, I don't want to be pissed off. I don't want to be a victim. I want a way we can heal ourselves. And literally within seconds, guys, I distinctly heard a voice that said to me, use the light within yourself to heal yourself.
Wow.
Wow.
And I've been expanding on what that means ever since. That was 20-some years ago. So I literally, the channel, I call it, the channel, you know, asked me, they said, look, do you want to do this work? And I said, I'm up to doing this work. I don't know why you want me to do this work. I'm a little girl from Kansas, you know, and I'm pretty simple. And the answer was, that's exactly why we want you to do this work.
Huh.
And I said, okay, but you're not going to mess with my body. You're not going to mess with my emotions or my brain. I'm not going to take on other people's energy. I will do this work only if it empowers me and other people to learn how to create themselves. And 30 years later, here I am. And, you know, I've written 6 books now on the subject. I have a show on every Sunday morning called Conscious Creation on Blog Talk Radio. It goes all over the world. Wow. You can see how to tune in if you go to my website. I am deewallace.com. Right on the home page, it'll show you how to hook into the show. I do webinars once a month. It's really a passion of mine to let people know how it's not up to God or the angels or your family or anybody else. We were given free choice to choose and commit to what that choice is.
Right.
And until we choose and commit, then the universe, only when we choose and commit, can the universe come in and start partnering with us to create that.
That's amazing.
It's freedom. It's really freedom.
Yeah. I did have a chance to listen to several of your shows. I really love it. I enjoy it.
Oh, thank you.
And it's different for every person.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yep.
Well, you know, if the channel, I think the greatest thing that we offer people is the clarity of where the blocks are that are in their way and how they can really turn their lives around and start creating a more powerful outcome in their life.
Right. Absolutely.
And isn't that what we all want, huh, guys?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Absolutely true.
So, well, Dee, I know your time is limited. Chris, do you have any more questions for Dee?
No, it was really such a pleasure to listen to you and talk to you.
Thank you. It's been great to be here, guys.
Oh, thank you.
You're a lot of fun.
Thank you, Dee. And it was
a lot of fun. And I wish everybody well and be happy and joyful and stay in love and go create your life.
Excellent. Excellent. Thank you so much, Dee.
Thank you.
You are so welcome. Everybody create a good day. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Take care.
So, Chris, that was so much fun. She's such a sweet lady.
Yeah, she is.
So, Chris, can you tell the folks what you've got going on and where you can be found online?
Sure. I can be found on my website, which is storiesmotion.com. There you'll find all my short films and other video content, and currently in preparation of my next film, and been writing a lot. So, yeah, it's been a fun time.
Excellent. Excellent. Well, thank you so much for joining me again today. And hopefully we'll have you on soon for another guest.
Absolutely.
Well, we hope you enjoyed listening to our interview with the amazing Dee Wallace. Please check out her podcast, Conscious Creation, and if you haven't seen the movies and TV shows she's been in, you're missing out, so please check them out as soon as you can. Remember, you can send your feedback to thenisnow42@gmail.com. You can also join in the conversation at our Facebook Then Is Now podcast group. Then Is Now podcast is a proud member of the Dorkening Podcast Network, so be sure to check out the other great shows there at thedorkening.com. You can also visit our website at havenpodcasts.com, where you'll find our sister show, The East Meets the West, in which we discuss Shaw Brothers films and spaghetti western movies. And Then Is Now is on YouTube, so visit youtube.com/user/UncleDeath1 to get the latest videos as well as other fun videos. Please subscribe to our YouTube page and also share the video versions of our podcast with your friends and get them to subscribe as well. Don't forget to go wherever you download your podcasts from, and if you like this episode, please leave us a great review so that more listeners can find us. We're on all the podcasting apps, including the big three, iTunes, Spotify, and Stitcher. Class dismissed.
Then Is Now podcast is intended for entertainment, educational, and informational purposes only. Sounds, music, and clips played during this podcast are the property of their copyright holders. All original content is copyright Jupiter Media.
For more shows like the one you just heard, check out the Dorkening Podcast Network at thedorkening.com.